Welcome. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, welcome. Could we have the lights down a bit? Hello. Hello, gosh. It's amazing. You've actually all arrived. It's fabulous. We've been thinking about this day for about 5 years now, Rose and I. And it's amazing that it's actually happened. I can't even begin to tell you how excited we are to see you all here tonight. We're so delighted. And we're going to have a fantastic night celebrating all the people and all the organizations that champion positive aging. But before we do that, we're going to have a keynote speech because you know what? No award ceremony would be an award ceremony without a keynote speech. And this particular keynote speech is going to be given to us by somebody whose name is on a card that is in the back. No, I know. I know exactly who he is because he lives with me. And he's an amazing man. And actually, I asked him to give this keynote speech because he's inspirational, not just to me, but to so many other people that follow him on his Substack column and on his Facebook posts and have known him over the years. He's an absolutely inspiring and quite magnificent individual named Kevin Sessums. And he started, or was certainly one of the main aspects of his career was he was executive editor of Andy Warhol's Interview. He was He was a contributing editor and fanfare editor at Vanity Fair, where he wrote 28 cover stories and more than 300 articles. His work has appeared pretty much everywhere. You can find his byline pretty much anywhere you look it up. And he wrote a New York Times best-selling memoir, which was called I Left It on the Mountain, and a follow-up memoir called Mississippi Sissy, which also won the Lambda Literary Award for men's memoir and biography. And currently he writes a Substack column that I encourage all of you to subscribe to called Sums It Up. It's witty, it's intelligent, it's a fantastic overview of what's going on in London with culture, and also a lot of his own memories of working with some of the most famous people in Hollywood and elsewhere. He himself attended the Juilliard School of Drama, and he is 67 years old. Yay! And finally, and most significantly, Kevin, as he self-describes himself, is a pilgrim. So he will explain to you exactly what that means, and I'd like to welcome him to the stage, Kevin Sessums.
Okay, hi. I might have misread this room because it looked like I was at a coven convention. It looked like a pagan, like you guys are like pagans. You look like you're a lot of fun, and I would like to meet you or worship with you because it looks like you're about to have some pagan worship. I'm going to deliver this little speech. I've cut some of it, I think, because I think you want to get to these awards. Thank you, Suzanne, for asking me to do this. I had no idea what this was or what I was supposed to do, so I just channeled some words, and this is what I'm going to say, all right? I want to talk a bit about shame and how we shed it when we learn to shed so much else in our lives. The first thing I can remember being ashamed of was old age. The second was being poor, and I'll get to that. But first and foremost, it was being old. When I was 7 years old in 1963, my father was killed in an automobile accident. When I was 8 in 1964, my mother died of esophageal cancer. At least that was the diagnosis and the biological reason given us. I think she died of a broken heart because she and my dad were childhood sweethearts ever since they had been in second grade in a tiny town in Mississippi. They had loved each other all their short lives. My father was 32 when he was killed. My mother was 33, when she succumbed to the broken-hearted cancer affixing itself to that part of the throat that sustains us, the gullet that gives us life. But we humans are more than gullets, because the guilt which infuses us and is our birthright to be born into this realm can't be ingested, even as it can be embedded before we know how to conceptualize it as such, culturally inculcated into us for a variety of reasons, mostly stemming from not being what others expect of us, and thus not fitting in a way one is supposed to fit. I have never fit in. I don't think a lot of you have either. When I looked at you out there, I indeed felt branded by my not doing so until I figured out that not fitting in could be just that, my brand. And I'll get to a bit of that too. My first memoir, as you just heard, is called Mississippi Sissy. I think a sense of place is important in any genre of writing, even composing this. And Mississippi certainly gives one a sense of place just in the mention of it. Its sibilance, conjuring a semblance of both benevolent gentility and benighted bigotry. A place of ignobility and ignorance, and yet the birthplace of Nobel Prize winner William Faulkner, and Pulitzer Prize winners Eudora Welty and Tennessee Williams, and of Richard Wright, whose 1940 novel Native Son was the first book by an African-American chosen by the Book of the Month Club in the States, which ensured its place and his in the cultural dialogue. I always say that we might not can be able to read in Mississippi, but we sure as hell can write. Richard Wright himself said that he left the South not to forget the South, but to understand it. I left when I was 19, and I'm still trying to decipher what being born there in 1956 did to me as a little white sissy, which in its way was the concave mirror image of a little artistic black boy born there in 1908. Completely different, but parallel in our reflections of the different apartheids of otherness. We both wrote our way back there and out of there. A pilgrimage of simultaneity that those of us who mindfully live our lives as narratives understand in our non-linear ways. Welty said that all serious daring starts from within, but it can't end there. The unfussy Faulkner, whose prose was fustian with contempt and poetry, an incongruous mix of hauteur and old white men talking shit while they're always hunting something to kill that will not die, said that we can't swim for new horizons until we have the courage to lose sight of the shore. All these writers had a sense of place, the shifting shore of home. And yet my own deeper sense of place, when I think back about that time in my now long life, was living within my being a sissy and the sibilance of that. I still live in that there and hear of it, the sashaying about until I keep rediscovering my hips in another way. And isn't that what growing old is in some way? Rediscovering our hips in new ways. I figured out that the defiance of a little sissy's or an old one's akimbo stance was what could staunch the staunchest derogatory whispers and dunder-headed bullying. I've never felt ashamed of being a sissy. I always felt that defiance in my difference. I reveled in it. I revel. I knew it threw people off who had a hard time understanding my place amongst them because I was often described as, quote, that little creature. I like being thought of as something not less than human, exactly, but something that still doesn't need to be one in the normative sense to exist in this wider, woebegone world. I actually weaponized my otherness, not in some deadly way, but to defend myself against the traumatic deaths of my parents. I felt its strength when I needed to be strong as an 8-year-old. I feel it now in my old coot phase, 60 years later. But the one thing I did not like as a child, which made me feel different, and yes, ashamed, was that after my parents died, their consecutive deaths, my little brother and sister and I moved in with our maternal grandparents, who were then, like me now, in their 60s. I love Mom and Pop, as we called them, but I wanted young parents, just like the other kids had. I said I was a defiant little sissy, but I guess I was a shallow one too. I was ashamed of my grandparents for being so damn old. I didn't like the aesthetics of when my gray-haired grandmother, well, she was more blue-haired with the wrench she put on it, would show up at my elementary school for events and stand in the claque of the mothers of my classmates, mothers who were sleek with youth, mostly slender, a slyness to what can pass for beauty when you're in your 30s, or more precisely, when your thighs are. Maybe the shame I felt, the sheen of it, was the shape-shifting of grief. I don't know. I know that the traumatic grief has shape-shifted since into my being a drug addict before I went into recovery, and maybe even my rapacious, unprotected promiscuity that led to my becoming HIV positive years after I should have known better. Or maybe it was the shame itself that shape-shifted into those other things which I was told to be, yes, ashamed of. I only know that my shame was my grandparents being old. This speech tonight is a public, I'm not gonna cry, fuck, shit. No. This speech tonight is a public amends to them for that. It seemed... It seemed like a pretty good place for me to make it, since it's a ceremony celebrating the glories of getting older. And I'm discovering it is rather glorious ever since, over a year ago, I donated or sold almost everything I own in life to set out to live life as a pilgrim in small rooms around the world. I prefer the term pilgrim to elder nomad, so maybe I do attach shame to old age still. I only know I wanted one more chapter in my life. I needed to set out to do it in my 60s. And I wasn't rich enough. I'm poor in any comparative sense, have been all my life since I moved in with my grandparents on a dirt road out in the country in Mississippi, to do it in any other way than to rid myself of possessions. It was an economic decision redefined as a spiritual quest. So much of life, so much of mine, is about redefining realities and living in those redefinitions, exploring them instead of settling for how others choose to define us and settling into that. Don't settle. Faulkner, who even wrote a short story titled The Old People, which is part of his collection, Go Down Moses, had a bit of shame about never having gotten his own high school diploma. In fact, the first graduation ceremony he ever attended was one for his daughter Jill in Oxford, Mississippi, at which he spoke. He began his own address that day in 1951 with this: "Years ago, before any of you were born, a wise Frenchman said, 'If youth knew, if age could.' We all know what he meant, that when you're young, you have the power to do anything, but you don't know what to do. Then when you got old and experience and observation have taught you answers, you're just too tired and frightened. You don't care. You don't want to be left alone as long as you yourself are safe. And you no longer have the capacity or the will to grieve over any wrongs but your own." He went on to talk about what threatens us the most. I've cut all this stuff. What threatens us the most is fear. That's what he went on to tell those kids about. And the most fearless woman I think I've ever known in my life, in that interview and Vanity Fair and this sort of glamorous life that I once had, is also she's also the coolest woman alive. She just turned 80 last week. Her name's Lauren Hutton. Yay, Lauren. Thank God, an audience that knows who Lauren Hutton is. Thank you, Jesus. She's a legendary model for some of you youngsters who are the grandchildren out there. She's a legendary model, but also an actress, and most important, she's an adventurer. a pilgrim. Her father was stationed here in England in World War II when she was born. He too was in his 30s when he died. He was 37 when a heart attack took him in 1956, that year that I was born. He himself was born in Mississippi as well, and he grew up living next to William Faulkner. He is buried in Oxford, Mississippi. Lauren's mother divorced him in 1945 when she was not yet 2. Lauren never knew him and only had a letter from him on the day she was born telling her about their Mississippi ancestors. Never meeting my father is the most painful thing in my life, she once told me. She has carried that grief with her all her shape-shifting life. I once hung with her a bit back in my younger days. I wrote recently in Sessums my column at Substack. Even sent her an early play of mine called Cadillacs in the Sky in case she might be interested in doing a reading of it. Dropped it off at her loft in the Bowery, wrote my number on it, and she called me to talk about it. I wanted her to do the reading, but she didn't think she was talented enough to pull off the character I'd written. This was before I was ever at Interview or Vanity Fair, where I framed the kind of fame she had, but always found a way of handing it back to us framers. We met and talked about the play some more, but she just didn't quite think of herself as right for the role. Back in the early 1980s, I'd eat breakfast at a place called The Bagel on West 4th in Greenwich Village, and she'd come rolling in the morning with her buddies after a night out, wherever the cool coteries hung to feel less harried by load of us who were not so cool. Those corners of New York that have always been a part of its lore, where the cool goes seeking their own lovely and unlovely kind. I'd eavesdrop and dribble a bit of honey on my toasted buttered bagel as I took mental notes about living one's narrative by not giving a shit, and wondered if one could eavesdrop as well on the effortlessness that Hutton seemed to have about it all. I was already exhausted by the effort it took to be who I wanted to be in such a place. As I look back, she taught me by her example to let go of the effort and turn instead to holding on to your truest self, no matter what, and trust that, your own damn truth. When she had her awful motorcycle accident, she was on a group ride through Nevada with her motorcycle mates Jeremy Irons and Dennis Hopper. I found out which hospital she was in and sent her a note about it. What I thought about her, what she meant to me, not expecting to hear anything back. She had a lot of recovering to do. And I didn't hear back. We lost touch. But a few years later, I was down in Miami, where I had a condo in South Beach for a time. And one evening at dusk, I was feeling that sadness, feeling, you can get. And I went down to the beach to contemplate my life and how sadness still is, the tide that comes and goes in the way that a tide does, and being its own gravitational pull, and how high or low it never, ever leaves, but dutifully lingers because it defines the shore, all that it's not, because it is. I was watching the tides lingering that evening when, emerging from the ocean, a lone figure walked toward me after a solitary sunset swim. It was Lauren. She recognized me. She sat in the sand beside me. I smelled the ocean on her, the beautiful tides that lingered now on her. She thanked me for my note in the hospital a couple of years before that. We talked about sadness and surviving and writing and belief in oneself and what a crock of shit being cool is, but how fame can help frame a life with the privilege of adventure, but you have to be careful that the privilege itself is not the adventure you seek. We talked about that early play of mine. We talked about Mississippi, about how hard it was to recover from her accident, from being so broken. We didn't talk about healing really and all the weight that word can carry. We talked instead about growing older with some fucking dignity. We were so much younger that Miami dusk and not sure what dignity meant in our lives. But that is what I remember we longed for. A life lived with dignity, but not with dullness. She also taught me not to confuse those two things, pointed out how different they were. When she agreed to talk to me on the record for a story I was doing for Travel and Leisure about New Orleans, where she went to school at Sophie Newcomb, an all-girls school, and worked for Al Hurt while doing her homework at his bar. She always knew what corners the cool folks found to be cool. So here's to honey dribbled on a bagel, recovering from brokenness, not giving a shit what others think, and not worrying about the frame or even what's in it. Walk past the tide from the ocean, sit on the sand, talk about sadness with someone who needs to talk about it. Dignity, dullness, fuck them both finally. Being 80, the dusk of life, is a privilege. That's her newest adventure, arriving yet again where she's never been, exploring that. May her 80s be just that, an exploration. I know I'll be eavesdropping. And before I close, I know you're ready for me to. Before I close, I'd like to thank you for eavesdropping on my thoughts and being a part of my own exploration of becoming older in a world we still can redefine for the better if we redefine what being old means. Since I've been in recovery, I've learned to live one day at a time. But each one day I become older, I have a new comprehension of that tool for living. I once told people that I'm amazed that I have manifested this life in London, where I live for half of each year, since you don't require a visa to do so. But last week, as I was in the midst of my walking meditation around your beautiful city, our beautiful city, I realized that I continue to shed more deeply because I no longer have possessions to shed. I shed now each previous moment, and I shed even the anticipation of the next one. I only manifest two things now, am and is. Today is Thanksgiving back in America. Tonight, this very moment, this one, I am thankful for your being the is and my am. That is what old age is to me now. It is not about continuing to contemplate the past, nor is it about worrying that I don't have enough time to focus really on the future. It is just that, am and is. It is the youngest I have ever felt because it is the youngest I've ever been. Each moment I am born anew. Each breath, a new beginning. Begin anew. And fuck shame.
For a moment, we lost our speeches, and God, that would be tragic. Thank you, Kevin, so much for that. Fuck shame. I think that's our new motto. So I'm sure that many of you are wondering who are here today, what the hell is Advantages of Age? Because we haven't been one of those organizations that have been going around shouting about our achievements and what we've done, but we've been around for 5 years, ever since, thanks very much, ever since I met Rose and I told her that I had a hot tub in my garden. And well, you just couldn't keep the woman away from that. And we ended up having this thing, which sounds terribly privileged and middle class because it was, called the hot tub, the ladies of the hot tub. And the ladies of the hot tub were women who would meet, and we were roughly between, at that point, about 46 and 64. And often we would have conversations that would involve talking about the media narrative around getting older, especially as an older woman, and feeling that somehow it didn't really reflect our lives. We were feeling creative, we were feeling on it, we were feeling inspired, we were still very much working and not looking forward to retirement, probably because there wasn't going to be one. And we weren't seeing that reflected in the media. So somebody in the tub said we should start something called Advantages of Age. And me, being the entrepreneur, as some of you may know, decided that was a very good title for a website. Went away, I think I was a little drunk, bought the domain name. And by the next hot tub, we had a website, at which point Rose stepped in and decided that she would edit it in her go-to way that she does. So first came the website, then a Facebook group followed that, which is now up to nearly 5,000 people. Somebody told us we should apply for some Arts Council funding. So we said, why not? And we did that, and we won some Arts Council funding, and some of the activities that involved are actually reflected in the photography that you'll see in the room in which we held the reception. So those came from those activities. And then we decided, or myself and now my colleague Mark decided to start a startup school, which is now funded by local authorities. And so the organization has grown and has a number of branches, which now include a new book that you'll find out for sale, Sex, Death, and Other Inspiring Stories, which we're really proud of and come from the articles that have been published over the last 5 years on the website. So we are a community, we laugh, we believe that, we should really enjoy getting older. We know that for many of our members, it's not so easy. And in fact, quite a few of them over the past few years have died. And we want to celebrate them too, because they were amazing, inspirational people that were part of our community. But we're very proud of what we've achieved. And we hope that you're really going to enjoy this evening. And now Rose is going to tell you actually what that involves.
Great. What I wanted to say was, first of all, actually, as I came to the stage, I heard somebody say to me, another person, were you at Skin 2 Club? Which I loved. I love our eclecticism, that we cover all, I had no idea what Kevin was going to talk about. And, that we started on such a kind of heartfelt note. It's kind of like what we're all about, really. And first of all, I actually wanted to say just thank you. Thank you to all of you for coming and contributing in the way that you have, to the website, to the Facebook page, to the crowdfunder. I mean, we could not be doing this without you. So, and the other thing is that we have people here tonight who have travelled, who've travelled from Bristol, come up from Brighton, Nottinghamshire. I'm so Worcester, really all over the place. Where else? Yeah. Look, it's amazing. It really feels like we are extending our tentacles out. And the more that we do that, the bigger mouth we will have in the kind of age revolution that we want to be part of. I know, in a way, that is what these awards are about. Me and Suzanne have been talking about these awards for ages, and basically we didn't really want to organise them ourselves. But inevitably, we've ended up organising them ourselves. But one of the things about the awards is that, thinking up the categories, for instance, for the awards, I think our awards, somebody said to me as they came in, something like, those award categories are really crazy. And I thought, yeah, that's exactly kind of where we're at. We want them to be, we really believe that we can be serious, fun, and flamboyant. And somehow, that sometimes feels that is a forbidden thing, that we should be trying to be all of those things. But I really believe that we can be all of those things. I really believe that our book out there is all of those things. And that's what we're aiming to do with these awards categories. We're going between all of the different things. So we coast from Style Queen and Style King to Death Advocate, because we really believe in reframing old, in reframing how we die as well as how we live. So that really is what we're about. Do I need to do any more? So I think we can go towards the awards.
Yes. So are we going to tell how we came up with the panel?
Oh, yeah. She's supposed to be reminding me about what things. So there was a process, just in case you're wondering about the judging and what happened. We did have a process. So after the categories, we put the categories into the Facebook group, and then people nominated people. So that was how that happened, and it was quite exciting, all these nominations. Of course, some of the categories didn't get so many nominations, so I had to do mad researching around nominations. But then after that, we shortlisted, and then we had a panel of judges, 7 of us. One of us, Leslie Herman Jones, came in from North Carolina, and Linda Devo was from Blackpool. She zoomed in. So we had 7 of us discussing all the different categories, which was actually very lively. And that's how we came to the winners. So if you're wondering, that's what happened. Yes. Is that enough?
That's enough.
Great.
Onwards. So, our first category is Anti-Ageist Activist. So the Anti-Ageist Activist, when we first started, we really felt like trailblazers. There really wasn't. Back in 2016, which isn't that long ago, there really weren't that many people talking about aging, even though it was very much on the mind of some of us who realize that we are living with an aging population. There are massive challenges around that are ongoing, and the government is just finally waking up to that. Seems like this year, because we are in the headlines quite often, which was surprising because we never were back in 2016, I can tell you that. But since then, quite a few people have taken on the challenge of talking about aging, and we want to celebrate them. So the first one is Cindy Gallup, the wonderful Cindy Gallup, who challenges stereotypes. She promotes sexual positivity through We Ran the World and her website that she's continuously trying to fund for without success, called Make Love Not Porn. Miriam Margolyes, who we all know because she's absolutely fabulous, actress, comedian, openly discusses aging and challenges aging-related stereotypes with her own brand of wildness. And then we have Jacynth Bassett, who is the founder of Ageism is Never in Style and the I Look My Age campaign. She is the youngest nominee. Not everybody is over 50, but she's done an absolutely amazing job with her campaigns, and she's been really radical and very, very successful on the pro-aging front. Got some amazing people behind that. Adam Duncan, who is here with us, Life Stage community founder, who's promoting an emotionally literate approach to growing older, supporting people in establishing life purpose through workshops and peer-facilitated groups. And last but most certainly not least, the very outspoken and quite wonderful Jackie Marshall-Cyrus, who's dedicated to making growing older a human-centered experience, providing expertise in adult and health and social care, age-related innovation, and late life to forward-thinking organizations. And the winner is, and we have a gold envelope. The winner is the young nominee, Jacynth Bassett, who is here. Yay! Yeah. And you can say something if you want as well.
Can I say something really quickly? Thank you so much, Advanced Rays. Thank you, Suzanne and Rose. This really is a pleasure and an honour. I love the fact I'm the youngest person. It goes to show that, all of us. And I have to say, the keynote speech, it was just so inspiring. And actually, it really touched my heart because my parents are older, first of all. And they had me at 40, so not as old as your grandparents, but they were older. And also, I lost one of my best friends at the age of 18. So it's really created a passion and a privilege and understanding of the privilege of aging, and it's something that I'm really committed to. So thank you so much for this honour.
Okay, next category is pro-aging organisations. Here we have the wonderful Crone Club, which is a grassroots organisation that celebrates menopause and ageing and aims to disrupt negative narratives with, for instance, their magazine, Tits to the Wind. Just love them as soon as I saw their name. Just so us. Okay. And then the next one is Older Women Rock. Now, I am wearing a jacket that is from Older Women Rock. It's an organisation that promotes visibility in older women through poetry, embroidery, through the Sacred Profanity group, and putting words on their clothes. Re-Engage is another organisation bringing warmth and laughter to old people that may be experiencing social isolation and loneliness. The Together Project, which there are people here from the Together Project today, bring younger and older people together, for instance, with singing sessions with 4-year-olds and 80-year-olds. Yeah. And the No Frills Social Club. The No Frills Social is a social club for people over 60, and they organise discos with lots of boogieing, as well as tea and biscuits, haircuts and more, in Stoke Newington, I believe. And then men's sheds that bring men together nationally to talk, connect and collaborate, which has an invaluable effect on men's mental health, which we're very concerned about. Okay, and we have joint winners. No Frills Social and Men's Sheds. Woo! I think we have oh yeah, we have. Right. Welcome to the stage. Are you from
Men's Sheds?
your Men's Sheds?
Yeah.
Brilliant. You're Mike Jen. Oh, and you are Peter.
Peter, yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Do you want to say something, each of you?
Yeah, I'm just a short thing. I mean, I'm wearing a load of leaves here, as you can see, because I'm in the autumn of my life. Put it together just before I'm coming out. Yeah, just simply that men's sheds are basically community workshops. So where can you go and make and mend something? If you want to make or mend something, it can be an issue if you haven't got a place to do it. So these are community workshops. They're all independent. We started in Camden about in 2011, and they've got about 1,100 of them now around the country, and they'll continue to grow. Thank you.
Wow. For once in my life, I'm kind of speechless, because we thought, when we saw the list, we thought there was no chance that we would get an award. So No Frills Social is kind of what we'd sort of term a youth club, but for older people. And we only started about 18 months ago. Myself, DJ Magoo, who's sitting at the back, who provides the tunes. And we grew from kind of a dancing club for older people with a little tuck shop. And kind of grew with our volunteers, and they all brought things. We have haircuts now, we have massages, we have badge making, we have crazy mad things. They're all driven by the volunteers, who are typically older as well, and all our guests who go from 60 up to late 90s. And we've taken it out around London. We started in Stoke Newington, but we've been out on the streets, dancing in the streets, getting the older people there. And I'd have to say it was the older people that led the younger people to get dancing in the streets. They're kind of scared these days, the younger people. And I'd just like to say thank you so much. And thank you to Helen, who made the nomination. Yeah, thank you.
Right, the next one is Disability Campaigner. And the finalists are the wonderful Matt Fraser, disabled actor, writer, musician, actively advocating for disability rights and challenging societal constructs of disability through his work. and a friend of mine for way too long. Penny Pepper, acclaimed author, poet, performer, disabled activist, focusing on examining difference, inequality, and identity, using humor and wisdom to share untold stories. Jon Knight, a disability campaigner dedicated to improving the lives of people with disabilities, actively involved with the My Death, My Decision team. Paula Peters, author, trade unionist, disability activist, tirelessly fighting against cuts for the disabled. There was a terrible, terrible news story yesterday about disabled people being forced to work from home now, according to new government regulations, which is absolutely horrible. Known for her kindness, humor, and determination. Iola Olafmihan, disability campaigner committed to promoting disability rights, accessibility, education, and empowerment for disabled individuals. And finally, Tara Flood, disability campaigner advocating for inclusivity, equality, and the protection of disabled people's rights, involved in projects and organizations that challenge barriers and prejudice. And the winner is the amazing Penny Pepper. Penny's not been able to make it, but she sent us this lovely video.
Here's an irony for everyone. At the grand old age of 63, recovering from multiple strokes, which happened in August this year, here I am accepting this marvellous award from you lovely people. Shall I call you lovely old people? And there's the rub. Disabled people of any age, but especially of our age, fight the good fight to be seen as part of the human family, as normal, with as many rights and needs as anyone else. As you know, the core of my activism is expressed through my writing, which began in the punk generation. Me, I'm pure political indie kid. At that time, I made my own records, got poems published, and began a life that led to endless adventures that I was frequently told would never happen. There's still much to do. My fiction aches to find a home. Is it that scary to read my stories? If I truly believed that, I wouldn't be here. My energy may be low, but I'm known for my grit and my stubborn will, inherited from my mother, who has just turned 87. However, this is not a pseudo-Oscar speech. I will keep it simple. I thank those who love and respect me and kept me alive during a difficult time in August. I thank my lovely allies, including advantages of age. And finally, I'm learning to thank and value myself for what has often been an arduous journey, but one I have to say, often an exciting one. And I wish you all huge lashings of self-love too. Thank you.
Great to hear from Penny, actually. She has written for us before now. Is that? Thank you. So we're moving on now to the climate change pollinator. First of all, Bill McGibbon, who founded Third Act, an organisation mobilising people over 60 for climate protests, emphasising the use of life experience and wisdom in the fight against climate change. Belle Jacobs, a former fashion editor, raises awareness about the climate crisis and promotes sustainable fashion through education and consumer choices. Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, actively addresses climate change through initiatives and policies and is outspoken on these issues. Caroline Lucas, head of the UK Green Party, has often been a lone and very valued voice on climate justice, sustainability and green policies. Jackie Carpenter is well known in the co-housing world, something that we're always really interested in, and has recently established the 4Cs climate change co-housing community, which emphasises collective action and sustainable living. And so let's see who is in this envelope. And it is Mia Motley. Where is Mia Motley? Is she here? Anybody know how we can get the award to her?
Yeah, we tried really hard for Mia Motley to fly from Barbados, but she was too busy combating climate change for that. This next category is my absolute favorite. And we didn't invite, actually, any of the people that were nominated for this. And you'll know why, because it's the most ageist headline. And this one was difficult, you know, because, let's face it, when you're an older person, pretty much every headline is ageist. But I just love these. I just love these ones. Of course, if you're an older woman, it's impossible to be written about in the newspaper without referring to your age, or the fact you're a grandmother, even if you're not. And I know that because I've been referred to as a grandmother in multiple publications, and my kids are way, way, way off procreating. Carol McGiven, 62, dazzles in a sequined biker jacket with her husband, Mark Cassidy, 40, as they join Linda Robson at the Best Heroes Award, Mail Online. The Mail, I have to say, is really standout for ageist headlines. Also, but in competition with the Express, I have to say. I saw one that was almost identical to this yesterday. The Just Say No list for looking chic over 50, how to dress like a grown-up. Ageless beauty. I'm 72, but I look 20 years younger. The Sun. I love this one. Grand dumped Egyptian toy boy after sex life dwindled, and she's got big regrets. Bet she does. The Mirror. Chain-smoking grandfather runs a marathon in under 3.5 hours. Imagine that. The Telegraph. How about this one? Always known for daring. 70-year-old grandfather arrested for the daring base jumps off the Virginia buildings, The Independent. Or, what an effing woman. Granny has the time of her life watching Louise Capaldi at Transmit, Edinburgh Live. I love that one. This one is actually about me. I'm having saucy romps with strangers in my 60s, and my fella doesn't mind. Take a break. He wasn't even really my fella. He was just another saucy romp, but there you go. Granny Pants OAP. Was that another one about me? Was it? No, it wasn't. Was it? Maybe it was. Granny Pants OAP should be having more sex. It can boost their health. Fabulous magazine. Love it. Absolutely. Yeah. You can find one of these headlines on any day of the week that you choose. Just look in the Mail. The Mail's really good at them. And the joint winners, because it was so difficult to decide, you can imagine, was, of course, the Mail Online, the Just Say No list for looking chic over 50, how to dress like a grown-up. We love that. And joint winner with What an Effin' Woman, Granny has the time of her life watching Louis Capaldi. There you go.
I am delighted to be doing this category. This is Style King. I think some of you might be here tonight, don't you? Oh, good, look, we've got the photos up there. Great. Look, so oh yeah, Jed Nova. He's a lecturer, isn't he, at Brighton? Yes. Little louche. Yes. He looks. Yes. Richard Caby. We have down here. Quite a famous colour walker, I believe. David Gray Fox, who's not here tonight, but more of the classic. Yes, very posh. And this person is definitely here. Jama Elmi, where are you? Where is he? Where is he? He is unmissable in his orange tonight. I've already had my picture taken with him. Nick Treadwell, gallery owner in Austria, who only wears pink, is 83. Farouk Abdallah, who's from Zanzibar and is a designer and is incredibly well put together. Oh, here we go. And who is the winner of this Style King? Yes, Jama Elmi. Jama, oh, honestly, I've seen so many pictures of Jama wearing fluorescent greens around Portobello Road, around Ladbroke Grove. I mean, what can we say? Thank you so much. Thank you. Fantastic. Yes.
Wow. Oh, well, I'm normally not a speech person. I'll let my outfit do the talking. But Susan, Rosie, Advantage Age Award, thank you all for nominating me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There you go, down. Onto you.
And onto, thank you. Onto the Style Queen. Woo! Style Queen. Style Queen, Style Queen. There we go, Style Queen. We start with Kathleen Patricia Keefe, who's not here, but is unbelievably stylish, and she dresses that way pretty much every single day, and she works in a museum where she dresses, again, in full historic costume. The wonderful Mindy Fratkin, who is a member of Advantages of Age, lives in New York, and she gets dolls made in her image because why not? Why not? Why not? The amazing Annie Wilshire, who is here, beautiful, classic styling, absolutely looks gorgeous tonight. Jeannie Hayden, who is an artist and I'm not as familiar with. And Risa Johnson, another member of Advantages of Age, who always looks fabulous. And finally, somebody that probably you will know, the amazing Sandy Powell, who's been a costume designer for a number of years, as well as looking incredibly stylish herself. And the winner is... Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Got to add a bit of drama. Sandy Powell. Sandy sent in her acceptance speech, which I'm going to read to you, because it's quite lovely, actually. And she said, "Hello, I'm so sorry I can't be with you to celebrate tonight, but I'm thrilled to accept this award. I'm not quite sure what Style Queen means exactly, but since I've been working in film and theater, dressing thousands of people over 4 decades, I suppose it's part of my job. I make sure performers are styled in order to represent the characters they're portraying in order to tell the story. And of course, we are all storytellers when we get dressed, whether we're aware of it or not. We're communicating a message to the world asking, what do I have to say about myself? And how do I want to be seen? But more important, this award and this organization has made me think about the real advantages of aging. We all have been through many difficult and painful things and learned many lessons. Yet today I find myself thinking about the earliest moments in my career when I was a young woman trying to imagine my future. It was the older people I met, the mentors who took me under their wings, like Lindsay Kemp and Derek Jarman, who offered me the chance to start off on the journey that I wanted to take. Now I have the opportunity to help young people and to offer them the chance to learn from me. And this is true for all of us, no matter who you are or what you do. So in honor of these awards, let's take this opportunity to promise to use the advantages and challenges of the years of experience to encourage and to inspire the young people around us. We can offer them both style and substance. And one day, when today's young people are themselves thinking about the advantages of aging, we will all have been an important part of the story of their lives. Thank you.
card. That's Style Queen. Ah. Okay, great. DJ. Okay, so, we're fans of DJs in Advantages of Age. So we've got Chris Sullivan, a lot of you will know, a DJ known for his work at the WAG Club, who currently does soul and funk sets. Debbie Golt. Yay! Who's a member of Advantages of Age and is part of the all-female DJ group Final Sisters, with a particular interest in world music, especially African music. She also hosts a programme on Resonance FM. And then Becca Leathlean, also a member of Advantages of Age, also a member of Final Sisters. Becky is known for her reggae sets. In fact, she's playing one for us tonight. Marcia Carr, a seasoned club DJ and a radio presenter who's the producer of Everything Good on Rinse FM, the curator and director of the all-vinyl female DJ squad Girls Be Like, and a producer of the video series 2 Decks and a Mixer. Linda Devo. Oh, Linda. We know Linda was one of the judges, actually, performing as Divalicious. Linda is known for her genre-bending style and is part of the female queer DJ collective Booty Bass. And then lastly, Simon Stanford, the DJ behind Discos for Grown-Ups, travels the country, playing a wide range of vintage music from 70s soul to 80s pop. And I discovered him and his great discos during lockdown. So let's see who's in the envelope. And it is joint winners, Debbie Golt and Simon Stanford. Yay! So glad, both of you. What a pair. Brilliant. Yeah, it's lovely. So glad to have Debbie.
Wow. Thank you so much for being nominated and for being awarded. And yeah, it's just DJing is a passion. I've been doing it since 1976 when I started out with Rock Against Racism, and doing it ever since. Mostly vinyl and lots of other stuff, and you can hear a little bit more of my style later on. Stay and dance.
So my Discos for Grown-Ups team, we started about 5 years ago in my bedroom as a male menopause hobby. And next year we're playing the O2, which is fantastic. And it's all about, listen, we can all dance, can't we? We're not too old to dance. We haven't stopped dancing yet, as the song goes. So we create pop-up disco nights all over the UK where people can come and dance. We get people from 25 up to 75, and they all dance together, and it's great fun. We play all the old tunes that everybody loves. It's a bit of nostalgia, but it's fun, it's funky. People get dressed up, and it's absolutely brilliant. We absolutely love doing them as well. So we're doing a show in London, our first show, April the 19th next year at the O2 Indigo. I'd love to see you all there. So, we haven't stopped dancing yet.
Interview. Brilliant. I love it that Simon came all the way from Nottinghamshire tonight.
Okay. Moving right along. The next one is a bit of a serious category, but we wouldn't be Advantages of Age if we didn't inject a bit of seriousness every once in a while. And this category is Death Advocate. Those of you who may have been following us for a while may have known that we've done a few things regarding death. One was called the Death Dinner, which we got funded by the Arts Council to get a bunch of people talking around a table about death from all different parts of different sectors related to it. And most recently, Rose did a dance performance in Kensal Green Cemetery called Dance Me to Death. So the Death Advocate category, we've got some sponsors. And who might like to present this? So we're actually going to bring up Claire from Before I Go Solutions. Yeah, you can read this, Claire. Give me a bit of a break. Thank you for reminding me about that. We didn't do a rehearsal before this. You probably realized that. Do you want to read out?
Yes. Oh, a sunny thing. Phew, I've got away from doing that. So there you go, I can't escape. No, thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here tonight. In my day job, I'm a lawyer, and so I spend a lot of time talking about death in a very serious and legal way. And I go to lots of award ceremonies as part of what I do, most of which are incredibly boring. So firstly, just to say, this is one of the most fun award ceremonies I've ever been to, and the most inspirational. So thank you, seriously. It's been a great evening so far. More to come, I'm sure. And my friend James is here tonight, and James made me realise a couple of years ago that talking about death doesn't have to be really serious and really depressing. We should embrace it, we should talk about it positively, and we should own the experience of how we want to die as much as we can. So James and I have set up an organisation a few years ago called My Goodbyes to help people talk about and plan for death within their family group, their friendship group. And then we became involved with a really amazing organisation called Before I Go, which is a community interest company that helps people become end-of-life facilitators within their different communities. And it was set up by a really inspirational lady called Jane Duncan Rogers, who sadly can't be here tonight because she lives all the way up near Inverness in Scotland at Findhorn. And she's stepping back and we're stepping in to help her run that company. So it's really exciting for us. So we're passionate about death. And it's great that you've got this category tonight, so thank you. So without further ado, the shortlist is as follows. Firstly, we have Liz Rothschild, who's a performer, celebrant, and burial ground owner who creates really original shows discussing death. And she's also the founder of the Kicking the Bucket Festival, which is featured in Death Dinner Film and author of Out of the Box. We then have Kate Tim, in brackets here, blonde Kate, and and Kate Dyer, in brackets, redhead Kate, founders of the Coffin Club, which I've heard about, a really upbeat pair who are changing the world of death and dying by making it all accessible, so that's great to hear as well. We then have Hermione Elliott, who's part of Living Well, Dying Well, and she has a background in nursing, midwifery, counselling, palliative care, and is founder of the Living Well, Dying Well organisation. Then Victoria Keane and Joe Douglas, organisers, yay, there we go, for the crap, organisers of the Lifting the Lid Festival, which puts on so many different types of workshops, films, and information about death and dying. We have Judith Silver, who's founder of Companion Voices. This sounds a lovely organisation, a group of singers offering songs and compassionate presence to those who are dying, which is a really special thing to do. And finally, but not least, we've got Antonia Rolls, who is an artist focusing on subjects like dying and death, and her exhibitions include A Graceful Death, and she also offers end-of-life support and runs workshops and listening support sessions on loss, grief, and preparations for the end of life. So amazing nominees there. Right, so I'm going to open up the envelope. Feel free to make some noises as I do so. Thank you. And the winners are Coffin Club, Kate Dyer and Kate Tim. Well done. They're here? Yeah. Oh, they're up there. Okay. There we go. Well done. You made it.
We come all the way from Hastings. We had to get a train and a bus and walk and then come all the way down from the balcony. We love banging on about death, so we're very, very grateful, and we'd like to thank all our coffin clubs around the country, also Sarah, who helps us run the coffin club, and my mum and everyone else who knows us.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we started off as celebrants, and within 2 or 3 funerals, we were like, what is this all about? Is this what you want for your loved one? 20 minutes up the creme? No, we're all so different in life, so why can't we be different in death? So let's talk about it. So please, if you take anything from tonight, talk about it, plan it, and get your funeral written, because we are all going to die.
And buy a downloadable Plan Your Own Funeral course from the Coffin Club. Thank you.
So now I've got there's going to be a special performance now. So Companion Voices, who were one of the shortlisted categories, and organisations in Death Advocate are going to come up and do. This is really special. I'm so glad they do it. So they're going to come and do a couple of songs now for us. And then the interval is afterwards.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so I'm Judith. I'm the founder of Companion Voices. We've been going for almost 10 years and gradually growing as an organisation. We're lucky enough to have 5 companions, 5 of us here tonight, and we wanted to share a couple of our songs with you. And we're not performers. We're people who go to the bedside and sing when someone's dying. So we thought we would just gather here at the front and very gently sing you 1 or 2 of our songs. We'll invite you to close your eyes if you choose. We are meant, don't drop off though, or die, please. We just invite you. Our aim is to be around somebody's bed as it would have been in the olden days, as it is in many, many places around the world where friends and family gather and sing for somebody they love. So we will just sing for you as if you are our friends and family who we love. Generally, people don't clap for us, but thank you. Very nice for a change. We thought it would be very lovely to share one of our songs with you in the way that they are taught in the learning sessions. So we have 11 groups at the moment around the UK where people come together and they learn these songs and they prepare to go to bedsides and sing. So we draw our repertoire from around the world, and this song is from the Seneca people who are on the eastern side of the northern United States and Canada, First Nations group, beautiful traditional pieces. This song is called Nisa Nisa. It's about the beauty of the moon in the month of January, and it contains also the word Gaiweo, which is the work of the Creator, the wondrous work of the Creator. So if you wish, you're so welcome to sing with us. I'm going to teach you line by line in the way that we do the singing sessions. The words that you're going to need go Nisa. Would you like to say Nisa? Nisa. Are you hearing me well enough without the mic? Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So Nisa, and then the second section just goes Gaiweo. Gaiweo. So we honour these traditional, beautiful pieces that help us to do this work and bring this kind of comfort. People do not need to understand the words to have this soundscape around them, but we like to share them when we can, so you know what you're hearing. So first line goes like this. Nisa, 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 your turn. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. Once more. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. Here comes the second line. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. Almost the same, a little higher, two notes the same at the end. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. Let's have first line and second line. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. So you have this lovely buy one, get one free on the song because you know the first line and the third line is identical. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. And the ending, a single note, a long line that goes Gaiweo. Let's sing a few of those. Gaiweo. Once more. Gaiweo. And one for luck. Gaiweo. And then that's how the start begins. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. A little higher. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. Nisa, Nisa, Nisa. Gaiweo. 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 And just before we leave the song, you're sounding fantastic. I hope you'll all come and join us. There's a new group just starting in London. Come and find us. It works as a 10-part round. That would be a little too ambitious, perhaps, for right now. We'll just sing it as a 2-part round before you go and get your interval. So let's have half of the room starting over there. We'll come in second. Friends up there, you with us? Excellent. Okay, here we go then. Nisa, 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 Nisa.
And now we're going to have about a 15-minute interval. If you go upstairs, you'll see a film on a loop running of some of our activities that we've created over the years. Please visit the art gallery and see the exhibition. Buy the book. It's going to be a fantastic Christmas present for anyone that you know and love. And of course, go to the bar, have a drink, and talk to somebody that you've never met before. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Mark Elliott, would you please come to the stage? Some of you may not know that Mark Elliott, the gentleman to my left, is actually the co-director of Advantages of Age. Woo! Mark is very good with figures and sums and Excel spreadsheets, and as he will probably tell you, I am not. I am not. He is very good at all the things that I am not very good at, which is good for a business partner. Anyway, Mark and I started Startup School. We started Startup School together during the pandemic when we both lost our work. Mark had been interested in some of the work that I'd been doing previously around helping people to become business owners over 50. And in October, we got some money together, October 2020, to set up the online version of Startup School, which is now in, you know the numbers.
Almost 500 people have graduated, 1,500 people have explored their lives in the late past life and what they're going to be doing with it.
So this category is, exactly. And most importantly, we get funding from the GLA and local authorities, which actually supports most of the other activities of Advantages of Age, which is where the little membership scheme that we'll tell you about later comes in. But first, our Startup School for Seniors entrepreneur.
So I'm just going to read the names now. So we have 6 nominations and probably more people from Startup School here. I can't see you, so I'm just going to say a thing. I can't read this either, so I'm just going to guess. So our first nominee is Max Wallace from Health Defence. Those of you, thank you very much. Those of you who've been upstairs will have seen Max putting Suzanne through her paces. So if you want to be put through your paces and become healthy, then Max is your man. So the second nominee is Helen Smith, made of Moxie. Now, Helen makes hats. She doesn't make them herself, but she makes them with Moxie. She also does that and continues with a day job, which continues through her 70s. We have Patricia Gustoso in the room. Hi, Patricia. Patricia is an inclusion strategist and a life coach. Patricia has a high-powered job. She's over 50, and she is sharing her purpose in life to increase inclusion in the science and tech world, to increase inclusion within places like AI as a bit of a Saturday job, and that's not a derogatory term. So there's Patricia. And Annette Hercules and Regal Robes. Annette is taking a new virgin life and creating fashionable garments from reused, upcycled and end-of-life materials, enabling people to look fabulous and feel fabulous about themselves and making a business of it. And we also have Steve Agnew, and that's it. Steve came with a magic formula for black skin, for creams and potions to keep black skin looking good. And with his caring responsibilities, he now visits marketplaces around the country with his That's It creams. And we also finally have Millie and Mima Taylor. who have founded the London School of Horticulture. Now, those are sisters, thank you very much, yes, also in the room. Those are sisters who, at different stages of their careers and lives, have come together to make something happen as a family in later life. Who does that? I think that's great. And what is later life anyway? I'm sure both of them have just half of their lives left to go. So, the winner of the award tonight, because I can't remember. I thought it was a lovely gesture earlier to throw them on the floor, but apparently they get tidied up. So the winner of the Startup School for Seniors Award tonight is Millie and Jemima Taylor of the London School of Horticulture. If you would like to join me on stage.
Sponsored by?
Oh, sponsored by, we've got sponsors. Sponsored by Chase DeVere, who are a lovely independent pensions company, advisor company. So, congratulations. Would you like to say a word?
Yes, I would. Thank you so much for this. We loved going to your school. We learnt so much. We think you're the best teachers ever, really. No, they're the most brilliant educationalists, whatever they say. And we had a great time. And so we're totally honoured by this. It's our first award, but I think it's going to be our best award ever. So cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, do you want to come this way?
Personal story. Next one is the most inspirational personal story. That's me. Yes, I do have a little card, Rose. It's okay. She's not bossy or anything. Jon Privett. This is a posthumous nomination, actually. Debbie Golt, who's in the room. I think you might have nominated Jon, or certainly knew him. Anyway, some of you may know that there was, and there still is, a wonderful bookshop just by Canary Square, King's Cross on the Canal, called Granary Square, called Word on the Water Bookshop. It's the floating bookshop. It's a fabulous, fabulous place. And Jon Privett was the bookseller who actually created that with some partners of his and died recently. But we wanted to honor him through this nomination. Nadia Chambers is here in the room with us. She's an Advantages of Age member. She's got a rare autoimmune disease, which she's navigated in multiple ways. She's incredibly inspiring. She does cold water swimming, which frankly I can never understand anybody doing, but anyway, she does that, and she does other amazing things. Jane Dotchin, some of you may know because she was in the newspaper quite often. She's an 82-year-old woman who makes an inspiring 200-mile pilgrimage on horseback, as you do, every year, which challenges all of our age expectations. And Louise Butcher, who's also in the room, breast cancer survivor who ran a marathon and continues to run topless to normalize mastectomies and challenge societal taboos around body image. Incredible woman. And Ishmahil Blagrove, a local, another person that's been in our kind of Advantages of Age universe, former neighborhood rat turned youth mentor and advocate for social change, inspiring positive transformation. He was very instrumental around Grenville in mobilizing people there around that. Maria Arpa, from a difficult upbringing, she founded the Center for Peaceful Solutions, fostering healthy conversations and resolving conflicts without violence. We need more people like her in the world. And finally, last but not least, the wonderful Alison Goldie, who again has been an Advantages of Age member for quite a while, struggled with long COVID. She was an improv teacher, performer, and then became homeless and navigates all of this with determination, humor, and passion. And we think she's quite an incredible human being. Very incredibly difficult to make a decision with all those amazing people. To be honest, they all deserve an award because they're quite fabulous. But the person that we're giving this one to tonight is Louise Butcher, who is here with us tonight in her sparkly dress. We love sparkly dresses.
Oh, thank you so much. I didn't want to fall down the stairs because that's the end of my marathon career over. So I'd just like to thank you. I can't believe this. I seriously can't. I mean, last year I was diagnosed with breast cancer and it was horrendous. It was just the most awful time. And I was sat in the surgeon's office and she said to me, and it was a lady, and I'm sure this is from research, it wasn't her words as such, that if I didn't have reconstruction, that I would have, my mental health would have a negative impact for the rest of my life. And I just thought, where's that come from? Where has that come from? I didn't want reconstruction because, to be honest, it sounded awful. It was very invasive. I'd gone through the fact that I'd had cancer. I didn't want to start thinking about what I was going to look like having more operations. And I just thought, I'm going to set out and I'm just going to find out where that stigma comes from. And I also want to show other women and empower other women, because I'd gone on lots of breast cancer sites for encouragement, and also they were really supportive to me. I just felt really sad that women felt that to fit into society at any age, to be honest, that they had to have something put back there when you didn't really need to have it put back. Especially as breasts are sexualised and you don't really need them because there is milk to feed babies. So it just felt really silly putting back lumps of things in your body for the fact that society thinks you're going to look like a woman with them. And another reason I did it was because I also felt that the anxiety and the stigma came from when you were hiding it. And that's why I thought, I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to open up. I'm just going to pull my top off. I'm going to run these marathons topless. And I run every day now around where I live. And I tend to go up and down the country now as well, running. And I'll probably run tomorrow in London through somewhere. I mean, probably past Big Ben or something, video of myself. And I think it... because, to be honest, I think as well, now that I've accepted the way that I am, it's normalised it for me. It took about 6 months, to be honest, to be the woman I am without breasts. But I think doing that also it encourages other women. And I just think that things like this as well, and thank you, bringing awareness around and these kind of awards also do it as well. So thank you, everyone, for nominating. This is amazing.
Oh, glasses. So the next category is a category that is very dear to my heart because it is Advantages of Age Contributor Award. That means that these are people that have written for me for the website and, are often part of the book that's out there. But it's so, it's moving that people will write, and they write fantastic pieces on all sorts of different subjects, from death to one of them, Anyway, I'll read out the title. So, okay, first one, Caroline Bobby, A Lament for Sinead. Ruth Fox, Travels by My Wild Lone Self. Lily Free, A Paean to Raving at 53. So you could see the diversity and the eclecticism. Michelle Kirsch, I'm Insanely Broody for Grandchildren. Nadia Chambers, Why I Love Cold Water Swimming. Claire Cooper, Letting Go of 40 Years Worth of Family Memories. Ivan Pope, I hate to call it a disorder, finding out why I had ADHD at 57. Peter Marriott, I was like a man falling off a ferry, I had MS. Serena Constance, Dirty Blood and My Stillborn Boy. Elizabeth Shanley, A Crazy Trip to Finland, My Brother and I, plus my dogs. Becca Leathlean, How to Live a rich life alone. I think those titles just reflect the kind of the breadth of what we cover. So let's see who is the winner. Ta-dam, ta-da. And the winner is Caroline Bobby, who is here. Please come to the stage. Caroline has written loads of pieces for us, often about death and dying. She writes with a kind of naked lyricism that only Caroline writes with. She is her own person and writer, and congratulations. I'm so happy. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks so much. It's kind of all I've got. I'm not bad with words, you know, from here. But all I've got really is so much gratitude and love to you guys. And I was in that original hot tub, even though I don't really like hot tubs. I made an exception. And my writing has been so kindly mentored and encouraged and like herded, especially from like a bit sheepdog. Come on. And I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful for anybody who's ever read me, taken me in, sent me a note. I'm grateful that this crazy world we live in and all the techno that has so much beauty but so much shadow allows this kind of intimacy and connection with strangers who aren't really strangers because we're all kin. And when it all comes down to it, gratitude and love. That's it.
It's my turn now. This is another quite fun category because one of the things about being older, and once you get to the point where you really don't give a shit anymore, is that actually you can start to do some of the things that you thought you never would do because you don't really care what people think. And I know for me, I became a singer in later life, went back to singing, and I now perform around London. And similarly, many people in this room re-engaged with their creative selves or took up something creative that, again, was unexpected and they never thought they would. And this category is really about honoring all of those people who decide to jump into their creative selves at this stage of life. So, the first one is Elena Emmett, who's a photographer who's actually taken many of the pictures that you'll see in the art gallery, who's known for her protest pictures and intimate portraits, aged in her late 50s. Mish Amanoff Moon, another advantages of age person, a street photographer with an eye for the unusual, interested in fashion and color, 62. Grand gesture, Bruce Curry, Jilly Hanna, Mary Cox, a physical theatre ensemble challenging preconceptions about older performers, known for their humour. Everybody in the group is in their 60s. Susie Clark, transitioned to visual art in the past 2 years, who creates impactful and colourful images, often featuring women, who's 70, the wonderful Josephine Pembroke, who's here, and I've seen multiple times with her show Working Girls of Soho, cabaret artist with a captivating performance, restarted her career at 59, explores themes of sexuality, 80s Soho, and her time in a band in the 90s. Nikki Kenward, who's also here, who completed a master's, this is completely nuts to me, master's in directing physical theater circus at 70, also a craniosacral practitioner. How nuts is that? Creates thought-provoking physical theater and aerial work, and recently directed Epic Minds about recovering from psychosis. And finally, the quite wonderful Ray Jones, creatively blossomed in later years, now 72, authored memoir, became a beat poet, runs the Ruffler Club, and released a video called Let's Get Drunk, filmed around the Portobello Road. A wonderful, wonderful group of people. Each of them very deserving. And the winner is the quite fantastic Nikki Kenward. Who knows how, I think she does videos of pull-ups. I mean, who does that at 70s? Oh, no. We should have known that. Why didn't we know that? Well, onwards and upwards then. We'll have to give her a reward. So we were on to the sports god.
Oh, sorry. Sports god. The men. First one, Asanga Anand. Oh dear. 80-year-old rock climber continues to climb sea cliffs and indoor walls despite a major climbing injury. He's a nutter. Bill Cooksey, 100-year-old World War II veteran who runs marathons. Honestly, at 102, became the oldest person to finish a half marathon this year in the Great North Run. Ted Clifton, 81-year-old bodybuilder from Newcastle, who's had a triple bypass and is still competing. Another one. Len Collingwood started adventure cycling at 65, then embarked on a 13,000-kilometre journey from Mongolia to Scotland. He's Scottish. Now 71 and still doing some of these challenging rides. So who will it be? The sports god. The advantages of age, sports god, is none other than Asanga Anand! Who happens to be my partner. Sorry. Here he comes. What a winner. What a popular winner. We can't believe he still does it. My God, I've got the Daily Mail already interested in the story. 80-year-old, oldest, and willing to do sea cliffs. Here he comes. I did not approve his style tonight, I have to say. He usually goes through the style. Sorry. Congratulations.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, I can't believe this. Actually, I don't think I deserve this any more than the other contestants in this group and any of the other people that were, or the other men that were nominated as well. They're all equally, you're all equally deserving of it. Yes, it's not only that I carry on with after a very serious injury. I'm also at the moment dealing with heart failure, which, and still climbing, yeah. And that's my passion. It's been my passion in life for a long, long time. And I do think I'm crazy, but I appreciate that people actually are appreciative of the fact that I do it. I always think that people are going to look at me and think, "You're stupid." But no, I'm very grateful, and for you, Rose, as well. I mean, you've encouraged me at times when I thought this is mad, utter madness. Anyway, thank you very much. Oh, sorry. I was walking off with that.
The sports goddess. Woo! So these are some other older people who were equally as nuts as the men. but I don't know, maybe not quite so nuts. Peeps Nickel, at 71 years old, newly widowed, battling MS, went to the gym and decided to start powerlifting, and she now competes. Why not? Michaela Jones, at 55, she completed... Is she here? Completed a 21-mile ridiculously long solo swim across the English Channel in 16.5 hours, persevering against turning tides. Well done. Iris Holder, 82-year-old multiple British record holder in long jump and triple jump, inspiring younger jumpers in their 50s and 60s despite a calf injury. And finally, Sue Yeomans, multiple world champion pole vaulter with 9 world championship titles, 13 European championship titles, and 22 national British titles, setting numerous records. Incredible, incredible, incredible women. I'm doing 14K on my kettlebell swings, and I'm pretty impressed with that. And that's as good as it gets for me. The winner is Peeps Nickel. So, there we go. She left us a lovely, lovely, lovely video. There we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm sure you're having a great time. I'm sorry I can't be with you. But I do want to say a huge thank you for having been given a Sports Goddess Award. That just feels beyond crazy for a 71-year-old who only took up powerlifting about 18 months ago now. It's a great thing to do, so good for your bone density. Thank you very much indeed to everyone.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I love it. She sent us her love tonight, actually, Peeps Nicole. So another category that's very close to my heart and very close to the heart of Advantages of Age, the poet category. First of all, we have Wendy Klein, widely published poet, unafraid to tackle taboo subjects, retired psychotherapist, published 3 poetry collections, and we've published loads of her poems because we love them so much because they're erudite and taboo at the same time. Alan Wolfson, performance poet, sitting down here, known for his humour and eccentric perspective. Performing for over 20 years. Yay! Continues to perform despite having a recent stroke. Really amazing. Alan made us laugh so much at our Age as All the Rage party earlier in the year. And then Caroline Cadenza, daring wordsmith and performance poet. She writes poetry, she illustrates her poems, and she performs regularly at open mic events, and she also has featured in a lot of our events. Attila the Stockbroker, that lots of you will know about. John Bain, legendary socialist poet, prolific career, toured the world for 35 years. Deeply political, passionate, and, amazing. Started as a ranter. John Hegley, renowned poet known for kindness and quirkiness. We all know John Hegley. He's a national treasure. So let's see who has won the Poet Award. And it is a combination, joint winners, Caroline Cadenza and Wendy Klein. So Wendy has done a little video for us.
Good evening, fellow Advantages of Age folk, and greetings from deepest West Sussex. News has been relayed to me via the ether that I have been voted joint poetry winner in the Advantages of Age Awards 2023. I have to say I'm both surprised and honoured that so much attention has been paid to my poetry, and I'm really sorry I couldn't be with you to say so in person. Unfortunately, I live just sufficient distance from London that the prospect of getting up there and back for an evening event is just too daunting to be considered. Unlike our esteemed Prime Minister, I don't have access to an on-call helicopter, but thanks to modern technology, I'm able to speak to you from my home and to say heartfelt thanks to you for this huge honor. Thank you for voting for me, and enjoy the rest of your evening together. I'll be with you in spirit.
And Caroline. We are inviting Caroline to the stage. Where is she? Caroline Cadenza. Yes, the painter of the pictures, the art gallery. Here she is as the poet. I believe you might have a little poem on you.
Oh, it's down there. So funny. I didn't know this was going to happen. And like you said, bring some poems just in case. It's like, now I know. And it's funny because I know Wendy. She's the mother of my best friend at school. Very long story, that one. Yeah. And my erotic paintings are in the other room if anyone wants to. But, well, in case you didn't know it was me, in case somebody wants to... in case you want to buy one or commission one with just you in it, a personalised, you have to tell me, whisper in my ear your favourite erotic pose. Sure, okay. Speak to me afterwards. So this poem's quite on theme because among the many advantages of being older, I'm going to add another to the mix. This poem is dedicated to my libido, which I'm happy to say year on year gets ever more fruity. And so this poem is called Fruition. I'm going to put it down because I'd like to do a few actions, perhaps. Okay. Fruits plucked in haste when ripe enough to eat are fresh and firm and tolerably sweet. But look again, and higher up you'll see maturer fruits still hanging on the tree. Come, connoisseur, this mellow one's for you. Not tang or tart and biting back, nor am I overdue, but come to my fruition in my prime. Beyond delicious, my taste is sublime. You'll barely need to bite, just use your lips. I'll yield my liquid treasure for a kiss. My sweet aroma lures you to come near. Good sir, you are the reason I am here. I'm burdened with this ripeness, urgent with completeness. Never before nor ever more will I exude such sweetness. Nectar seekers, lotus eaters, have not tasted such. Come pluck me now and glut yourself while I am soft and lush. I've naught to lose and all to gain, for it shall be lamented if my ripeness finds no mouth before I'm all fermented. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we move on to Wellness Changemaker. These are the people that are dealing with our mental health. Again, quite a topical theme. And the finalists are Louise Chun, who I met many, many years ago at a Google Founders Over 50 program that they decided never to repeat again. Probably because they found Louise and I on that program and 4 other people who had no idea about technology whatsoever, but somehow they were the only other 4 people over 50 they could find. Louise is the founder of welldoing.org, a platform for counseling and psychotherapy, matching individuals with qualified therapists and providing mental health resources. Louise Butcher specializes in anxiety relief therapy, trauma healing, and IBS relief. Tom Morley is a drummer and a storyteller using rhythm and storytelling for personal and collective transformation. Alan Dolan is an expert in breathwork therapy, utilizing conscious breathing techniques for emotional release and self-exploration. And finally, Sarah and Anthony Pletz, who are here today, specialize in grief tending, creating safe spaces for individuals to process and navigate grief. A really amazing collection of people doing quite phenomenal work in that space. And the winner is Louise Chun. Louise Chun, who is here. Who's here? Come to the stage. Another woman in a sparkly dress. Would you like to say something?
I'd just like to say how exciting it is to get this award. Quite honestly, it's really great because it's been a long old haul. Starting anything, I started when I was 57 and it's just on 10 years. So, it's a great thing to do, something when you're at the end of your working life, but it's really hard. But Suzanne has been a great mentor and lunch mate and constantly coming up with new ideas of things I could try. So it seems really fantastic to have won this from you, both.
Thank you. Well deserved. Well deserved.
And the next category, I actually really enjoyed this as well, this category, because I had to research books. Anyway, a non-fiction book with a pro-aging message. So the first one is What I Wish People Knew About Dementia by Wendy Mitchell. She writes about how she personally manages to live a full life despite a dementia diagnosis 9 years ago, which is pretty incredible. Age Proof by Professor Rose Ann Kenny, useful science-backed practical information about how to get old healthily. Revolting Women by Dr. Lucy Ryan, who's here, I know, warns businesses not to ignore women over 50 and the huge contribution that they have to make to your and our world. Retirement Rebel by Siobhan Daniels, a retirement rebel. She left her job and sold her flat and travels the UK in her motorhome. Marvellous. And so the winner of this category is What I Wish People Knew About Dementia by Wendy Mitchell. So Wendy Mitchell sent us this video, which is very heartwarming.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I can't be with you tonight, but my dementia means that evening events are often difficult for me to cope with. However, I was delighted for my book just to be nominated. Tonight I found out that What I Wish People Knew About Dementia has actually won the pro-aging message category. It's simply wonderful and very humbling. I've written 3 books, 2 of which were Sunday Times bestsellers, including this one. And my final book came out in the summer. One Last Thing, Living with the End in Mind. I've also been given 2 honorary doctorates by universities for my work in health and dementia research, all since my diagnosis with dementia. So I'd like to finish by telling you all, never give up on yourself. No matter what curved ball life throws at you,
Other people will do that for you. But never give up on yourself, as you never know what opportunities might be waiting for you around the corner. I know I certainly didn't. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Amazing. Now we move on to more of the sad and slightly depressing side of the evening, which is actually no, it's not. It's not. Is this? We've got two categories left. Only two categories left, and then you can go back to drinking and you can watch the films upstairs and take in the art gallery. Anyway, we asked the Advantages of Age Facebook group if they could consider the most innovative ways to be buried or cremated. Because you know what? That's just the kind of group that we are. And this is what our members said, because, you know, you've seen some of the people in the room tonight. You can only just imagine what some of their responses were. And some of them, Paul Jeremy, who's right here, around here. Anyway, Ben Cornish said, I'd like to put my ashes in juggling beanbags so he can continue juggling after he's gone. Paul Jeremy, I thought this was kind of sick, Paul, I have to say. I want my body to be sent to a taxidermist and dressed in my favorite party suit. Would that be that one? I'd like to be left on display at the wonderful Victor Wind Museum of Curiosity in Hackney. That's one exhibition I won't be visiting. Kevin Allen said, this is so gross. I want to be roasted on a custom-made barbecue and ashes fired from a distress flare from Mumbles Pier. Cornelius Muso Crowley said, I want to be mixed into paint and a portrait painted from a photo I choose with that paint from my descendants. It's kind of interesting. Jane Duncan Rogers said, it's not innovative, but I want to be scattered off the diving rock near our family's holiday hut in southwest Scotland, meaningful for everyone in the family, including me. And the most innovative place to be buried or cremated goes to Cornelius Muso Crowley. Cornelius, there he is. He was going to be here with us tonight, but unfortunately he's not feeling very well. So he sent in his acceptance speech, which I will read for you. And he says, I was really very pleasantly surprised to have won for the most creative burial idea list in the Advantages of Age Award. At our age, every day is a blessing, and often a pleasant surprise, and always an opportunity to nurture those around us. I like to think of myself and others as growing older, yet never old. I had a twin idea, which was to utilize my remains post a cremation, and the first of which would be to take some of the ashes and mix them with some paint for an artist to paint an image of my likeness as a personal memorial. It's kind of interesting. My beloved family might keep such an image. And the second part was to take the bulk of the ashes and put them under a suitable fruit tree, and one that blooms with every season to feed the tree, and the blooming flowers to suggest beauty of life and its regeneration. The fruit symbolizes that which nurtures more life, and the tree would hopefully be one of many among a woodland, a place of rest and beauty and seasons and reflection. I'm grateful for every day, for the chance to live well and the time to nurture and be nurtured. I hope that this gathering nurtures each and every person who has gathered here tonight, and that nurture, what you all do, branches out to nurture the wider and hopefully a wiser community for it. In my mind, that is the role of the healthy adult, to nurture our children as who they are, to nurture each other and our community and our shared commons. May we all see a nurture culture emerge in our lifetime, if only. Thank you again for being so kind as to have voted for me. Do what you love. It is your gift to community. And he says, as an ending, I'm rather discombobulated to be lurgified, disappointed I cannot attend, and I wish you all the very best. And Phil Jordan, one of our sponsors from the amazing Freebird Club. If you don't know Freebird Club was set up to help solo travelers go and stay with hosts of a similar age in a kind of Airbnb style fashion, so that we weren't all hanging out with people with whom we had very little in common. And now they've broadened it out to include more social activities, and Phil is the CTO. Are you not, Phil? And they have been very lovely to be one of our sponsors, one of our very first sponsors, and we're very grateful for your support. So Phil is presenting the final award, which is the rock and roll artist with the most glorious getting older attitude.
Hi everybody. So just to be really quick, I just have to say that Freebird Club was kind of born out of the fact that my co-founder and CEO's father was experiencing later life loneliness, having become a widower and a retiree. He found his world kind of shrinking down, and he was pretty depressed. But Peter had built a holiday home in Kerry, which is where he grew up. He was living in Dublin at the time, so his father was looking after the handing over of the keys and the returning of them. When some older guests started to arrive and stay at the property, Peter's father found a new lease of life by kind of showing them around and giving them a little bit of an insider tour. And what Peter found was that not only was his father experiencing this amazing kind of rejuvenation, he was also getting 5-star reviews on Airbnb from the guests saying, you know, meeting Peter's dad was the highlight of our trip. So that's really where Freebird was born from, and, you know, a little bit of investment later and a bit of hard work. This is where we are. So anyway, rock and roll artist with the most glorious getting older attitude. We have Patti Smith, who embodies getting older in a spirited way, plus more powerful in her delivery as she gets older. Keith Richards personifies a certain don't give a fuck attitude to getting older. Chrissie Hynde is still kicking ass as she gets older and using the eyeliner. Grace Jones, incredible on all fronts, from singing to her style, fierce forever. Toya Wilcox, still reinventing herself. She's more recently created the Toya and Roberts Sunday Lunch. Susie Quattro, a complete stalwart in the rock and roll world and still wearing those leather trousers. And Peaches, unapologetic in her manner and music, wonderfully going for it still. I have an envelope. And, okay, this is the envelope, everybody. So, God, I'm glad I put my glasses on. So, rock and roll artist with the most glorious attitude to getting older. Oh, it's a joint winner, Patti Smith and Grace Jones. Are they here? Or?
No, and we don't have to worry about AI just now, do we? Because when I asked somebody on Fiverr to create an image of the two of them winning an award, that's as good as it got. That's as good as it got. So that's all from us tonight. Next slide, please. That's all. That's all.
Thank you. Go mingle, go gallivant, go dance to Debbie's music. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for everything.